my last video, I was talking about 5 credit cards that you could do a balance transfer to where you can get 0% interest for up to 21 months. And most of those credit cards had no annual fee, which is really good. And it had no interest on purchases and balance transfers for at least 15 to 21 months. So with interest rates being so high, I believe that the average interest rate on credit cards right now is like 20%. So paying interest on credit cards is pretty much like a no. Like, we do not need to be paying interest on credit cards. So I thought using these balance transfer credit cards, if you have high interest on other credit cards, will be able to help to pay down debt fast. But I got a comment stating just because you get and do a balance transfer, it doesn't mean that you're going to pay down debt. So in this video, we're going to talk about how you can use these credit cards to pay down debt fast. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, I'm Tasha from the Major Change Group, where we believe small changes can create big results. And if this is your first time on the channel, welcome. We talk about how to get your money straight, how to increase your credit score, and how to use your credit card like a debit card. Well, I can tell you that I have used balance transfer in the past to pay down debt, and I really think that it works. Because having a 20% interest on a credit card, and then let's say you're making a minimum payment, it's gonna take forever, like 5 or 10 years to pay down the credit card, and you're gonna be wasting money because you're paying interest on it. Now, I got another comment stating that just because you apply for a credit card, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna get the credit limit that you want to be able to do the balance transfer, and that is a great point too. But what I would suggest is, possibly, let's say if you already have the Discover It. I have the Discover It, and I feel like from time to time, they'll email me stating, well, you can do a balance transfer. Now for myself, I don't have any balance on the credit card, but you know how they mail you those promotionals. Or you can always call them up to see, well, do you have a promotional to where I could do a balance transfer? You know, being able to call up the creditor and ask, most of the time, I think they probably would assist in that, or even calling to see if you can lower your interest rate. I think that that's good as well. So I would say that you're taking a chance, possibly applying for a new credit card and maybe not getting a high interest rate. So I would say, you know, be careful on that. But I do still think doing a balance transfer is the way to go when paying down debt. So now we're going to talk about what is the strategy in being able to do this. Because I know for myself, when I did this, I had 2 Bank of America credit cards. And what I would do, I didn't use these credit cards like regular credit cards. And I had them for maybe 17 years or so, because these were like the longest credit cards that I had. So several years ago, when I was doing a Dave Ramsey plan, and you know, he tells you to cut up all your credit cards, I had cut those up. And I wasn't using them. But I feel like as I was doing the plan, I really felt like I was creating a good foundation to be able to now use credit cards to where I'm not paying interest. I pay the credit cards off every month. Now before, especially like when I was in college, man, I was just, you know, racking up on the credit cards and, you know, just paying the minimum balances. But now I pay the credit card off every month, or I'm using the credit card utilization hack where I'm leaving either 2 or 7%. And then after the statement date, I'll pay the credit card off. So this one time when I had the Bank of America credit card, what I did when I had to do things around the house, and so I needed to get a HVAC unit. So I was like so disappointed because I had to get an HVAC unit. So what I did, I took the cash off of the Bank of America credit card and I got me an HVAC unit. So then I had that, and what I ended up doing, I did a balance transfer over to my Discover It, and I had no interest for, I believe, about 15 months. And so what I did, I just paid the credit card down probably within like 13 months. And then that's how I would do it. So the first thing that you want to do is write down how much credit card debt you have. You want to write each creditor that you have, and then write the balance that you have on the credit card, the minimum payment that you're making, and your interest rate. So once you do that, you have all those down, your lowest balance all the way down to your highest balance, and then put your minimum payment and go that way. So next, you already know I'm going to say to do a budget to see how much money you have coming in compared to going out, and how much money you might have left over that you can possibly put on the lowest credit card balance that you have, and you're doing that snowball. So then you can see, here is the credit cards that I have. Can I call up one of those credit cards to do a balance transfer over to a 0% interest? Or could I call them to see if they would lower the interest rate? That's a possibility. Or would I be able to open up a new credit card? So in the scenario that I use, the Discover It, because the Discover It has 15 months, 0% interest on a balance transfer, then if you were approved for however much, let's say the lowest balance, or maybe like 2, then possibly you can put 2 credit cards onto the new Discover It and then pay that down. Or you can take, since you wrote down your interest rates, you can take the credit card that has the highest interest rate and move it over to the balance transfer credit card so that you can pay that off really fast. But then also with getting one of those credit cards, it also has 0% interest for purchases as well for like 15 to 21 months. So in that time, you could be, using this as your main credit card, and then hopefully not leaving a balance on there, but just paying it off that way. Let's say if you don't have any credit card debt. But let me know what you think in the comments. Have you done a balance transfer before, or are you going to consider either calling up your creditor and seeing if you can lower your interest rate, calling them up and see if they have any promotionals to where you can do a balance transfer, or possibly calling or seeing what other credit cards, maybe it could be one of the 5 credit cards that I had told you guys about. So the first credit card was the Discover It. The second credit card was the American Express Everyday credit card, and then the American Express Everyday Blue Cash. The fourth credit card was the Citi Custom Cash. And then the 5th credit card was the Citi Simplicity credit card. So those are some really good ones. And the Citi Simplicity credit card had 21 months of no interest. So I thought that was good. And I even gave a 6th one, and I was talking about the Navy Federal Platinum credit card, because that has a pretty low interest rate on that one. Now, one other thing that we do want to think about when doing a balance transfer is there are balance transfer fees associated with it, and sometimes that can be between 1% and 5%, and it possibly could be a little bit more depending on the credit card. But when I consider, if you have a credit card that has even like a 15% interest rate, and then you can do this balance transfer and pay a one-time of 1 to maybe 5%, I still think that that's better than paying 15 to 20% on a credit card, but you have to decide for yourself. But let me know in the comments if you think that this is helpful. Please like, subscribe, share with a friend, turn your notification bell on so you'll be notified when new content drops. I thank you so much for watching. Until next time. It's not a game, it's a